California is facing a phenomenon that hasn't happened for the past 170 years, an exodus, which means more people are leaving California than moving in. In the year 2022 alone, over 800,000 people left the Golden State and moved to other parts of the country, while slightly above 475,000 residents moved in, experiencing a net loss of nearly 342,000 residents. Surprisingly, the migration has been happening for the seventh straight year since 2017.
More and more Californians choosing to move out of state are looking to Texas and beyond Texas.
Population of California dropped by 500,000 people between April of 2020 and July of 2022.
People are leaving California in masses, 1 out of every 100 people, to be more precise.
Approximately 100,000 people left for Texas, 74,000 people left for Arizona, 50,000 for Florida, and about 55,000 left for Washington. And the list goes on. What makes it alarming is that California cities alone make up about 40% of the top 25 cities where populations have decreased the most. East Los Angeles, El Monte, San Francisco, Santa Ana, and San Jose are among those cities. Not only individuals or their families, but hundreds of big corporations and businesses are moving their headquarters out of California. Clear that California is breaking apart, people are not happy living on its soil. So, what are the actual reasons people are leaving? Is California becoming a failed state day by day? Or is the exodus normal for the state? This is why no one wants to live in the richest U.S. state anymore. Let's talk about the first obvious reason, the high cost of living. In California, commodities prices are 16% higher than the national average. Only Hawaii has higher prices, and consumer goods need to cross the Pacific Ocean to get there. Now, this might not be breaking news to you, but just take a look at the graph to see how steep the costs are by comparing them to the rest of the U.S. The cost of living in California is roughly 50% higher than the U.S. average, and it's the fourth highest cost of living behind Hawaii, Washington, D.C., and Massachusetts. The main reason behind this inflated number is due to the fact that the average home price in California is a staggering 216% of the typical U.S. home price. At the end of 2023, the average price of a home in the U.S. was around $340,000, while in California, it was priced at about $730,000. Only behind Hawaii with an average price of around $830,000. The major cities cost even more, like San Diego costs about $850,000. In San Francisco, the median home price is nearly $1.2 million. You may ask, in what ways does this impact residents? In short, unless you have a huge stash of cash saved up or a very healthy salary, you won't be able to afford California housing anytime soon. Even though California residents make 22% more than the U.S. median income, the state has the second lowest income-to-home value ratio. In other words, even Californians with relatively higher incomes face housing affordability challenges. This also causes people to rent, with 45% of housing units occupied by renters. California is the state with the highest percentage of renters nationwide. However, renting is also quite expensive in the rest of the country. On average, it costs around $2,000 to $3,500 depending on the place, size, and number of bedrooms. In theory, one would need to work 177 hours a week at the minimum wage in order to finance an average San Francisco one-bedroom rental. The starting rate for a single room on Skid Row in downtown Los Angeles is more than twice the federal minimum allowance for individuals with disabilities. In a nutshell, Californians are struggling with the high cost of living, from housing to necessities like groceries, transportation, utilities, and healthcare, forcing them to consider moving elsewhere. Besides higher prices, another layer of problems added to home buying is the insurance crisis. Over the past 5 years, wildfires have ravaged nearly 10 million acres of California's forests, destroying 39,000 homes. These catastrophic events have highlighted the urgent need for adequate insurance coverage. Surprisingly, at a time when homeowners need protection the most, major insurance companies like State Farm and Allstate have decided to stop offering new home insurance policies in the state. They cite reasons such as rising reconstruction costs, reinsurance expenses, and outdated state regulations. In 2017 and 2018, insurers lost a staggering $30 billion due to wildfires, most of which were losses from 3 wildfires: the Camp Fire, the Woolsey Fire, and the Carr Fire. These unprecedented payouts have strained insurance companies' financial health. Residential construction costs have surged by approximately 34% since the pandemic began. Supply chain disruptions and labor shortages have contributed to this increase, making it more expensive to rebuild homes. With insurers pulling back or exiting the market, California residents face limited choices for homeowners insurance. Some homeowners are left with no option but to turn to the California FAIR Plan, an insurer of last resort. Unfortunately, these challenges have made California one of the nation's worst markets for first-time home buyers. The dream of homeownership is becoming increasingly elusive due to insurance uncertainties. When you can't see the future for buying your dream home, then you basically don't see the future in that place. And this is one of the main reasons why many Californians are leaving the state. One of the other reasons California is so expensive is because its taxes are 13.3%. What's remarkable about the California income tax isn't just that it's the highest rate, it's how little income it takes. Just above $52,000 to qualify for the California rate of 9.3%. Also, higher income people began leaving for states such as Texas and Nevada that don't impose income taxes, not simply wealthy individuals. Over the past 3 years, 352 headquarters have moved out of California, and 11 Fortune 1000 companies have closed. Several prominent corporations have shifted their headquarters from Santa Clara to Austin, Texas. Nestle USA relocated from Los Angeles to Arlington, Virginia, and Oracle San Mateo relocated to Austin, Texas. Following Texas as the most common destination are Tennessee, Nevada, Florida, and Arizona. The business climates, tax rates, and cost of living in each of these states are consistently better than those of California. In terms of state corporate tax climate, California is ranked 48th out of 50 by the Tax Foundation. Let's just say you can afford to live in California, but then your reward is being stuck in never-ending traffic, featuring 3 cities, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and San Jose. They're the top 10 for the worst traffic in America. A study found that the average LA passenger spent 119 hours a year stuck in traffic, even if you choose to take the train or bus. Public transportation networks in California are not well established. Only San Francisco has the best public transportation system, which includes cable cars, the BART light rail system, and a fleet of buses. It earned a transit score of 80 out of 100, which is pretty high for an American city. Unfortunately, the remaining cities in the state do not have as robust or large a public transit system. For example, Los Angeles, which is California's biggest city, only earned a transit score of 53. San Diego's score is even worse. It only received 37 out of 100. Aside from broken public transportation, California metropolitan cities like LA are densely populated, which also causes traffic congestion, long commutes, and limited personal space. Meanwhile, California attracts the most tourists out of any state in the whole U.S. This entails increased traffic, backed-up beaches and parks, and lengthy lineups at all of your favorite eateries and theme parks. Noise pollution, congested public places, and an overall sense of overload may irritate just about everybody. And of course, there's the issue of homeless people. California has over 150,000 homeless people. No other state has up to that. Between 2010 and 2020, the number of unsheltered homeless Bay Area residents increased by a staggering 63%, and many of them are either mentally ill, addicted to drugs, or engaged in criminal activities like robbing or gang violence. They display themselves in areas where kids can see them. And there are numerous other issues that locals have mentioned. Many people believe that the COVID-19 regulations are to blame for the rise in violent crime. This factor significantly contributes to the rate at which individuals are emigrating from California, as they seek stability and security, as well as more affordable housing in other states. The majority of Californians were in support of the policies of their state for a long time, but now their views are changing. Conservatives and even reasonable voters feel that California is moving too far to the left. COVID-19 restrictions in the state have placed an extra strain on residents and businesses like gyms, restaurants, personal care services, bars, hospitality, and the tourism industry. Other states do not have as many COVID-19 related lockdowns as California, pushing many business owners to seriously consider leaving the state for another, where they can future-proof their businesses. The government is also purposefully failing to deal with the current housing issue. California's local jurisdiction has profound effects on what's built. Officials have frequently weighed in on NIMBY, not in my backyard, lobbying against new construction, with many stressing the need to conserve the ecosystem or preserve neighborhood character. Furthermore, long-term homeowners have local municipal councils that urge them to oppose the construction of new housing projects for the sake of preserving neighborhood character or protecting the environment. Many California citizens attempted to overcome these issues by building residences outside of the city. However, these homes are typically built in areas where natural disasters are common, further stressing home buying. Since the gold rush in the mid-19th century, millions of people from all over the world have at least one time in their life dreamt about the California dream, a more refined notion of the American dream, a lucky place, a land of opportunity and fortune, but this time, including some sun and some surf. This single idea made California the most populous state in America. Immigration, diversity, and the economy thrived hand in hand. However, disturbing as it may sound, the California dream is vanishing day by day. Despite having a warm and sunny climate, a diverse job market, a rich geography with beautiful beaches, tasty food, and unrivaled entertainment choices, in the end, what matters for people is, can you see a better future in the Golden State? Unfortunately, many people feel that it's unlikely.